Dear English teacher, to clear things up, the people in my class are either 13 or 14. Pretty even split between guys and girls, so anyways. I had this teacher this past year, Mr. Bart, so my sister also was in his class, and had warned me about how creepy he was, etc. In the beginning, he was pretty normal, aside from his generally disturbing appearance and his overall bad vibe. Mr. Bart had bright red skin constantly, is almost completely bald, has crooked brownish teeth and beady black eyes. Needless to say, he was not exactly the cutest teacher of the school, not that we even have one. But anyways, I figure he'd mellowed out from marrying and having a kid. This was pretty consistent through the first 3 remarking periods, although he made some weird comments, such as the following gems. We're discussing dress code rules for guys versus girls and fairness, etc., and he essentially says he can report a girl dressing inappropriately, because the parents would ask him why he's looking at their daughter using short shorts or a showing bra strap as an example. He talked about it like it happened before. So anyways, we started preparing for our Holocaust unit in an icebreaker kind of thing, even though we all kind of knew each other. We had to ask each other over and over, "Who are you?" to try to get a deeper meaning or something of the sort. Of course, we didn't take it seriously, and since I was partnered with my close friend, I started naming random fruit. Silly joke, whatever. And we're called back to our seats. Mr. Bart asks us who we are, and I look back at my friend and say, "I'm a peach, apparently." We giggle for a second, but then Mr. Bart makes the whole situation a lot creepier. He goes into this whole lecture about how peaches are delicious and beautiful, etc. He made the whole thing sound very sexual, basically. My friend and I wanted to throw up. I started noticing staring before, but this was really what tipped me off, that I never wanted to be in a room alone with him. I kept on with my business for a while, but little things kept happening. For instance, I had a temporary tattoo on my ankle, which he pointed out. Not exactly an obvious thing to see. I was sitting at my desk in the corner of the room. So a week before school ends, I have a nightmare about him. We have to sign into the bathroom, so I'm signing in, and he's there. We have a casual conversation. As I walk into the bathroom, he follows, keeping up the conversation even though I'm not. We're halfway to the back wall, and I yell at him to get out. He yells back that I'm being disrespectful, and he can do what he wants. I lock myself in a stall and cry, and still have to pee, so I go. I look up to see him staring at me, and I scream. That's where I wake up. That's the most vivid and realistic dreams I've ever had, and only once. I still remember it all. It really freaked me out because it's honestly something I could see happening, and that terrified me. I avoided him after that. Go home early, or just not going into school. There was less than a week left, and I had 8 absence left, so I couldn't care less. Mr. Bart, let's never meet again. No, I don't want to see your collection of nude paintings. So a few days ago, I read a post about someone's creepy English teacher, which reminded me of my very own English teacher in 6th grade. Now, my English teacher would always find reasons to hold me back after class, even though I was a straight A student, and would never let me sit with my best friends. He would try to humiliate me in class as much as he could, even though I couldn't think of any reason for him to do so. So in his class, I would sit alone, sulking, knowing that although English was my favorite period, my teacher would still find ways to ruin it for me. He also pretended he required my help carrying stuff to his office out of the entire class, which included really strong, at least twice my size, muscular guys, too. One day, he called me to his office, where he was going to show me my final essay that he graded or something like that, and he ended up showing me paintings of topless women. The experience was immensely embarrassing and horrifying for me. I was a young kid who had no reason to discuss sexuality and nude art with a creepy English teacher, and yet he kept pointing at those dozen paintings, asking me how I felt about them, even though he could clearly see I wanted to die right there. The bell indicating that break was over saved my life, and I ran from his office. Months later, he invited my parents and I to his house. He was leaving school, I think, and wanted to talk to them about my future plans, praising how intelligent I was. I had by then convinced myself that what happened before was an accident, and he had no perverse motives. But then he took me to another room and again showed me pictures of nude women in some of the books he had, and this time they were completely naked. Unfortunately, I never told my parents about this due to my being extremely embarrassed about the instances. Luckily, he never came back to school. A few weeks ago, my mom told me while I was talking to her on Skype, I'm now married and lived in another country, that my 6th grade teacher, English teacher, called home after 16 years and asked how I was doing. I am posting this here because I had to tell someone, since my parents still have no clue, why I was so scared of my English teacher in 6th grade, and his recent phone call creeped me out to the max.